So I wonder how the Reichspakt are feeling about things at the moment.
Probably not very good.
No.
I guarantee, knowing those streamers quite well, there's a lot of shouting going on right now.
Yeah, probably. Right, I'm going to take a look from Germany's perspective. Oh,
somebody clip that and then smash cut it with the screaming on the other on the other channels.
So Germany's still got 600 convoys. I think they'll be all right. Austria, doing that. I want to see from the British perspective. Austria's only down to 100, but it's Austria. Probably doesn't matter that much. And
a lot of supplies for the Reichspakt will come overland as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for the tungsten. Remember the tungsten they are buying from abroad. And with the pending war against Russia and against the Co-Pro, that also means Siam. I'm really curious about where they're going to get their tungsten supplies from. I think they were kind of counting on the fact that they could beat through France and then take Portugal, because that's the only other tungsten supply.
Chat was just saying that my my green screen background had slipped. No, it's actually the boom arm of my microphone coming into the top of my camera frame there. Apologies for that.
So there are still a couple of tanks left here, but it kind of looks like Germany's going on a full defensive footing at this point, using the tanks in much the same way that the French were, except for the fact that they still have a couple of them across the river, just to give them the opportunity to push through there if they think they can. Meanwhile, the French tanks are trying to get a crossing over Nijmegen. Hopefully this is not going to be a bridge too far for them.
No,
and
I
at
really
the moment,
hope not.
it's good. But they're bringing the tanks in just in case. What are the German infantry divisions like? Just infantry. 20 combat with infantry with engineers. And I'm going to guess the French ones are the same. Yeah, except they got AA. No engineers, interestingly. And then the French immediately pushed back. Another attack across another river crossing with support from infantry, but no progress made.
No, I think this is going to be a solid stalemate here. And this is such a good breather for the International. This gives them so much more time to recover and to focus on repelling the Entente. Honestly, this pullback here from the Reichspakt could have swung this game in favor of the International, honestly, depending on how the Co-Prosperity Sphere front goes. Because now, arguably, in my head, how the factions are going to line up, it's equal on the Reichspakt International line, and then depending on where it goes with the Co-Pro, it could... This gives, for example, this gives the International the room that when the Co-Pro start pushing in to really storm Germany and get their favorite piece of the pie and really cause issues.
Yeah, I think that the next big decision point is going to be the Entente. If the Entente do go against Third International, it's going to be a massive struggle for naval power. And also actually in the Mediterranean now, because they're going to be able to land in southern Spain and also Italy. So
it's going to be
naval power
about timings. The Entente almost need to let the Reichspakt know when they're going to be launching stuff. I know that sounds a little bit gamey, but they need to make it clear to get the Reichspakt to kind of come in. Because if the Reichspakt overextend, that weakens them.
Yep.
There's nothing lost to the Entente by the Reichspakt pushing out, because the Reichspakt will be on a two-front war. And whatever supplies they commit is supplies they're going to lose. So the Entente
I just want to comment on this. We got an attack from France going into Venice, and the French tanks are just annihilating the Austrian ones. The Austrians just have no answer to this.
Mm-hmm. Look at that general.
1,200
Spanish
breakthrough.
general there. Was that a Spanish general? So is this being microed by Spain?
France.
No, but
France,
when you looked on the battle, the flag was Spain.
I can't check now. The French are actually pulling back again. What? At least hold on to Venice. It's an urban location. Oh no, it's not. It's plains. Huh. Interesting. German submarines still off of the Spanish coast. Yeah, a lot of raiding going on, and we still have. Oh no, we've got a very small
salient
Baltic salient going into Norway via Sweden. But otherwise, no real moves. I think everyone at this point is just kind of waiting to see where the cards fall after the Japanese declare war on the Reichspakt.
A good question here. How are the Entente doing for industry? Because they're having that slow, silent build-up. Also, New England has come back to America, so America almost at 400 factories now.
804 total. Against the Reichspakt.
709.
700.
Yeah. So
Third International.
far from out of the war.
600.
63. CoPro.
And 709. So, CoPro and Reichspakt are identical. 709 each. Meanwhile, we've got another German search coming across the river outside of Strasbourg. We do have the tanks. Oh, no, we're paused.
Interesting.
French. Oh, Entente. Just joined the war against the.
That's the pause. It's a pause for the declaration. Here comes the reclamation fleet. Here comes the birthright. Glory to the birthright. Can the Entente make this? Toucans, of course, who are playing the Entente, were last year's winners, so this team is not to be trifled with.
Although they did say that they've had their share of setbacks, especially with their Canada player being iffy, but they had a cipher against
back,
Germany.
By the way, in the pause, that's something we should note as well. They used their last hot join ticket to get the original Canada player back in, who's renamed called them Crashless. They've renamed themselves now that their internet is kind of stabilized. So they're back on top. Hopefully, that's this is where it's going to start getting interesting.
So where do you reckon the Entente's going to try to strike first? Is it going to be a cross-Mediterranean thing? Are they going to try and do something into, say, Ireland? Or hell, even Britain?
I think they're gonna see what the buffer of the response here is. My money is in Iberia.
I think Sicily. It's such an easy place to defend, and then you can basically get a decent foothold on it, build a bunch of air bases, and then use that to harass the Italians.
I think we'll see Sicily flip, but I do think we'll get southern Iberia at the very least. They want Gibraltar. They want to control both sides of the Mediterranean.
That's true.
They've got the navy, and if they can control the trade routes.
How did they take this from Germany?
They didn't take it. It was the Entente that declared it.
Yeah, but in Kaiserreich, Suez is owned by Germany, isn't it?
There's an event chain where it can go when the Ottomans despaired that Egypt can take it. They storm it and take over, and then they declared a war on Egypt, and Egypt had it, so it went to the Entente.
Oh,
that's why I said that was a masterful stroke for them, for the Australasians declaring war on Egypt for the French, because they would get.
I thought that was just the French trying to take Egypt for the extra industry and also access to the canal. Interesting.
No, they stole the canal. That was the thing. So if they grab Gibraltar here, they control the ins and outs in the Mediterranean.
Yep, 100%. So we actually have some German counterattacks going on in the Netherlands at the moment, probably trying to get the French while they are distracted elsewhere. And this is a proper German search. They've gone from Strasbourg. They're in Metz now. And the French are really scrambling.
Yeah, tanks from Austria and Bulgaria making a huge salient back into the Alsace-Lorraine region. If they can connect towards Cologne, they could get an encirclement here of quite a few French troops, including some tanks. This is not looking good for France. And now they're also at a point where even if they would, Britain cannot help them, because if Britain starts taking naval invasions by putting troops in France, it's going to spell the end of the International.
Yeah, I think at this point, Britain's entire role is just naval controller. But yeah, there are a bunch of troops here that are about to get overrun. We do have Germans attacking into Luxembourg, and I think Luxembourg has just fallen. They need to use these troops to pin the tanks.
Yep.
until they can reinforce. Okay, they did get a troop there, but oh, and a tank. Okay, they saved them. They're probably thinking about removing these guys. And oh no, they were cut off just north of Saarbrücken.
Yep.
So that's
a lot of divisions. That's 16 divisions there, completely surrounded by the French. The French divisions were surrounded. That's what I meant to say from, not by.
I understand.
Yeah. But that's a heavy loss right there. That's a lot of equipment, a lot of manpower. Let's take a look at the loss screen quickly after that as well. Almost wow, that's a lot more casualties.
Reichspakt.
Yeah, there's a lot more Reichspakt casualties than I thought. 920,000.
I think it's because the Reichspakt keeps on trying to throw like infantry attacks, and those are very costly. And I also think that they lost quite a lot going into Italy.
Yep, that could be bad. Luxembourg is about to fall.
There goes Iceland.
There's okay. Yeah, this is a good get for the International. It stops that extra naval base being nabbed by the Entente to be used in the reclamation.
Germany no longer owns Suez. That was changed in the Ottoman and Middle East rework. Oh, interesting.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
completely missed that.
So
I thought that used to be like one of the most interesting things about Kaiserreich, actually, the fact that they'd taken it and not Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess Germany would have less reason to want control over it compared to the Brits, who kind of relied on boats.
Mm-hmm. That's another encirclement there in France. Another 12 divisions.
Interesting. Oh yes, including two
tanks.
of the tanks.
We were just bigging up how this was a great moment for the International, but the Reichspakt have come back striking. I'm erring too much because I'm trying to.
So it kind of looks like at the moment that the right decision here was don't have Grisha doing the tanks, bring in the Austrians, bring in the Bulgarians, and they'll actually see some progress.
Yeah. I wonder if Grisha's setting up the lines on the other front.
I would imagine he is. I mean, there are still German tanks here, but I kind of wonder if they're
being controlled by
someone
Ukraine.
else. Yeah, Ukraine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Look at those divisions. Another 14 in that pocket. France does not have enough men to hold the line anymore. This is it. This is it for the nationalists, for the French.
Those are Italians. The Italians are actually doing a lot to defend. What's Spain doing?
Defended its ports.
I feel like Spain should be doing more.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they've done nothing.
I agree, but with the Entente here, again, they're the soft underbelly, and now what's going to happen is the International is going to fall to the Reichspakt rather than the Entente, and we could actually see the Entente pull us away with it, but there goes the Japanese-Canadian war, was that? Did the CoPro just declare war on Canada?
No.
No. Who did the CoPro just declare war on?
I mean, they just declared war on Georgia, but I don't know who was after this. Germany.
The Reichspakt.
Germany, Sweden. Yeah, they've just declared war on Germany, so they should be attacking across here any minute now.
Is this going to be enough to save the French?
I'm not sure I would discount the French yet. They've still got a lot of their tanks up here in the north. They kind of need to swing their units down. And the German attack here is not very well supported. It's basically just these two tank divisions.
Yeah. It's the Verdun pocket here. The Verdun salient here could easily become a pocket. Someone's messaging me on Steam. No, do not message me on Steam.
Yeah, I have all notifications on Steam turned off. I hate it when they pop up.
Yeah. I try to as well. In fact, I've had it where if people message me on Steam, they can crash me. That was back with old OBS rather than more than anything.
Nope, we paused again. Maybe because of CoPro declaring. They have not gone to war with Ukraine. So they don't actually have any mutual borders yet. Oh no, that's not true. They have Sweden. So how is the Russian bear looking on the Swedish border? Well, there are no Swedes in Finland. It looks like they've completely abandoned Finland to its fate and are going to be defending around Luleå instead.
Mm-hmm.
And there we go. Sweden called in Ukraine. I guess that's why we were paused. It's like rule break. You have to call in your entire faction.
Yeah.
Fairly sure that's one of the rules.
I'm pretty sure it is as well. But look at this push. These tanks are making a comeback. I think these were early deployed French armor here. So luckily they've got enough supply to do that. But I don't think they're going to be very well trained.
Well, that is one thing I can tell you. No,
They're okay.
They're fine.
Okay, nick of time. But there's 2 more divisions just got surrounded there outside Nancy. They're now having the issue where they just don't have enough men on the line to plug these holes. I think you've got to try and pull out of Belgium at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Like, reform your line here.
There's Union of Britain forces coming in. The Allies are starting to move towards the line to try and save the French, because I think they've realised that if the French can hold on, that they still have a chance of nabbing Reichspakt territory. Also, just as a note, if we go over to the Empire of France, there are Brazilians lining up. So is what I saw in the previous go with the Toucans. Actually, it was one of the other nations. But we saw Brazil build a lot of the Marines and spearhead a lot of the invasions for the French. And then the French were the more specialised heavy tanks, or these...
I'm still fairly sure we're going to see French Marines just because of how ridiculous this division is.
Maurice Griscott, look at his command skills. He's an artillery commander as well, so those are going to be...
He's been grinding. What have the French been grinding?
Egypt War.
What war has National France been in?
The Egypt War.
Oh, you've gone robot. Hello?
Oh, really? Hello, can you hear me?
You've gone very, very robot.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm not hearing it on your end.
That's very strange.
And I don't see any internet issues on mine.
Okay, it seems to have recovered now. Just for a moment there, you were like, beep, bop, beep, bop. I was like, I have no idea what you're saying.
Sorry, I was answering your French, what war the French have been in. The Egyptian War.
True, but that was a relatively short one compared to, like, the civil wars that other people... Oh, no, they've been doing civil wars, that's true.
That's
like America, USA.
Yep.
Yeah, fine.
Actually, with the entire Entente entering the American Civil War, they've probably all got some very skilled commanders.
9% towards Invader, yeah, he's got all of those. He's
scary.
Hasn't taken one more of their traits. He's probably going to go Combined Arms Expert for the Mechanized Defense, because I think... Will that apply to the Amphibious Marines?
Yes, it will.
Either that or Improv Expert for the movement on land and makeshift bridges, which is just going to empower the Marine units even more.
Yeah. Or they could be looking for the Marine buffs past Invader as well.
Yeah, but I find those aren't as impressive as, like, Improv Expert. So Invader leads to Amphibious. So actually the Marine supply grace is really, really
and
good.
Naval Assault
But the Naval
Plan.
Liaison's rubbish.
Naval
It's
Assault
terrible.
Plan as well is really good. Faster naval invasions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Naval Liaison reduces the number of heavy guns you need to get the full bonus, as opposed to, increasing the full bonus.
Yeah. This is a scary overrun here, though, coming from the Germans.
Is it? I mean, it does actually look like they're starting to blunt this attack. So we've got the Italians coming over from the Atlantic seaboard to bolster this. We've got the British coming across to bolster. And it looks like they have now stopped this offensive. So it really depends on how much pressure the Russians can put on the German eastern flank for the French. And they're still holding around Amiens. It really is this Troyes region. And because that is a salient, the French can actually attack from multiple different directions here. Mm-hmm. It just depends on whether they can hold on to Rheims. And
it doesn't look like
they can. No.
That's also in risk of another encirclement. I know it's only one division, but that's shoring up those lines even further. There goes Iran.
Georgia.
No,
Georgia. Sweet Georgia. To the Russians. Yep. So they now control the full Caucasus. And then I think I want to spend a minute to take a look at how the attack on Ukraine is going. Because I am seeing the Russian front line has shifted a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
But is this just up to the river? It is. Oh no, they have a crossing. Russia has actually crossed here in Breslav. And their... What are these? Infantry are going completely... How?
I'm guessing they just found a gap. Oh, no, they have got tanks. They've just moved them away, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Their best commander is the one that's got 6 out of 40 there. I think that's their tank division commander. That's the one that they were grinding up.
Hop
Only
off.
got one. Are they really behind on their industry?
I think so. I mean, part of it is just the heavy tanks are really expensive.
Yeah.
Particularly compared to mediums.
I feel like they would have more divisions, though, at this point. Or at least I've seen a co-pro Russia with more heavy tank divisions at this point.
Let's see if they've suffered many losses. Russian state, 75 men, so no. Not that they've lost, like, divisions to surrounds. I think they just don't have them. Unless they're in training still, which is possible.
Is the
So where is our main man? There he is.
Moving back up.
That's going to be such a valuable division at this point. I'm guessing he's going to try and cut across here to knock out the Baltic
It's
states.
not even fully organized. Fighting strength. So it's out of equipment. So they're probably just really behind on their heavy tank production.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, we are still in April 1940. This is still early war.
Ukraine, the Crimean Peninsula has been cut off, though.
Yes, it has. By the Russians. Oh, no, by the Chinese. The Chinese are the ones making the big push down there. It does look like there's going to be attack across here, and then Russia's basically just battle planning through Finland at this point. The French line has solidified, stabilized.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like the Germans are still trying to press in, but Troyes is now secure. They've got this river down here forming one line, and then they have the Amiens River holding up here. So really the danger spot is right here. If the Germans can punch through this, which is admittedly the Ardennes where the forests are, so that will make it a bit more difficult. But there are also a couple of plain areas, which is what tanks like.
So we're now back to the pre-offensive borders, essentially now. But I will have to say, even though the French losses now have been far worse than the German ones.
Let's see if the stats corroborate that. Communist France has lost 750,000, Germany has lost 569,000, so yes. However, they have lost more overall.
I will say that, yes, the Reichspakt have lost more overall, but the thing is, they've lost manpower from strength divisions, whereas Communist France has lost divisions.
Yes, that's true.
Including
that is a very understrength tank.
Yes, it is.
Probably just deployed. Ooh, naval battles off the coast of Germany. Those are Union of Britain. Very brave submarines, apparently. And there are still naval engagements going on. We've got the USA going in against Mexico. Mexico currently unsupported by anyone, but Mexico does have a lot of divisions. And fighting through Mexican terrain is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, of all of these pushes, I'm most impressed by the one going through Turkey. I'm surprised that Bulgaria has not just left a thin line here to defend this. Because pushing across all of this, and there's like just hills and mountains, it is horrible to push lengthways through Turkey. But they haven't really done much here.
No, this is watching the Indian troops move through Turkey. That's just another front. I don't know if the Reichspakt are really looking there. That could be
And
11
speaking of
divisions cut
Reichspakt
off,
looking,
yeah.
that is a big cutoff in the making right now. And the French have made a really big push through the Low Countries, going through Charleroi, Namur, and Liège towards Maastricht.
They've pulled all the tanks off this line. That's all the Austrian tanks have been pulled out, and the infantry support that was coming in hasn't been put in, I don't think, is what's happened here.
Well, we still have the... Actually, I think these are the Austrian... Oh, no, they're esports. German tanks are up here.
Yeah.
Luxembourg is back in French hands. And that's quite the switch.
Big back and forth. Oh, it's
whoa.
because... We have Chinese and Russian forces actually into Reichspakt territory, as in German territory. They're moving towards Königsberg. Bratislava has gone down. Vilnius has gone. Wow, that's insane. This is without armor. This is just infantry moving in.
They do have one armor, but they're unopposed. Like, where are the Germans? There are none. They're still trying to hold on to Ukraine. They have way too many troops here considering what they're facing off against. And they just seem to have not noticed this. Oh no, Germany has. Germany's got a couple of their esports tanks moving up, which is probably going to be enough to at least dull this, but that's a pretty nice move. And this is going to benefit Russia, I think. So it's going to put Russia in a good spot to defend along this river, and also they take the entirety of the Baltics.
Yeah. Are they looking to try and hold them at Danzig? Is that what the Germans are looking to do? I feel like that defensive line is too far back.
Yes, but then looking at how far back the Germans fell here to the Rhine, all the way up here, like, Krishna's proven that he's willing to give up territory for a better defensive position.
Krishna is Russian, isn't he? That's kind of the quid pro quo.
I know what they do.
Isn't it?
The River Amiens is the Somme, and the battles there look to be about as bloody and indecisive as the ones in 1916.
It's very true. Yeah. Oh dear.
But it does look like Germany is being kind of stretched kind of thin between the two different sides. We've got Russians now actually on Norwegian borders, having pushed back the Swedes. And Russia and Third Eye are not at war. No, they're not. So this is just going to be down to whether Norway wants to push them. It's actually kind of cheeky that Norway pushed down here and said, Russia, it's far enough.
Okay, I got this.
Sweden is ours.
That actually might save Sweden.
It probably has saved Sweden. Because, man, they have so many troops on this border. I'm a little bit surprised that with all of these troops, they have not pushed Norway, but I guess they just want to pay the attrition price. Meanwhile, we are still very much in mud time. So the German tanks are going to be 70% less effective at the moment because of how much mud there is on the Eastern Front. So they're probably kind of letting the Germans roll forward, the Russians roll forwards, and then when the mud season's over, the German tanks will suddenly reappear, and they'll push the Russians back again. Seeing as Russia at this point is still predominantly infantry.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the French are back up to the Rhine. This is a really big gain for them, and they've almost secured the lines around Strasbourg. So we're back to original borders. The push was halted.
Yeah, the offensive, the summer offensive, the winter counter-offensive, the spring counter-offensive. It's a true back and forth on that front.
Meanwhile, India has now reached the Bosporus.
Yes, they are at the straits of the Bosphorus. Indian troops pouring towards Constantinople here.
They're pulling a reverse Alexander.
Yeah. Yes, they are. I am... Marmaris has fallen. Stayed in Marmaris. Marmaris is lovely.
I have never been to Turkey. It's one of the places I really need to visit one of these days.
Lovely country.
I've not been further east than Prague. Actually, that's not true. Ostrava. I've been up to here. That's as far east as I've gone. Oh, wow. It's even on the map. Impressive. Actually, I think it is Czech Republic's like second biggest city, so I'm not that surprised. But yeah, that's as far west as I've gone. I've gone really far west. Far east. I've gone as far west as Hawaii. Like I've covered that area quite well.
I think the furthest west I've been is Dublin, so.